Well, hello and welcome back to Michelle Holden Art, where we discover our true art one layer at a time. And I hope you enjoyed last week's video, which was part 2 of how to create an abstract mini series, which is about taking what you learn in your intuitive art journaling practice and just going further and using repetition and using what you know to make a small series of, I believe these are 5x7. And what started it all was the inspiration from this piece, which is, let's just measure that just to make sure. I believe it's 8x8. And yes, it is 8x8. And I wanted to just have a break and show you that, of course, it doesn't have to, what you create doesn't have to remain in that art journal. You can use different substrates as you build your knowledge of your authentic marks, your layers, shapes, color, and value. And that's basically all that I use and all that I need to use at this time. As you may have noticed over time, I'm developing some other color palettes, still staying in the blue, orange, or blue, yellow, and reddish, but more orange, ochre, and or yellow oxide, and just trying to really explore what I can do, especially knowing and learning all the different types of blue that are out there. These were new blues. It was the Cerulean Blue Deep added to what you already see me working with, the light blue and the turquoise, which is the Liquitex Basics acrylic that I use for this type of art. I also use golden, and I will be using that when I take this further. So coming soon. And at the end, it's very important to reflect on, to keep track of the layers you used, your colors, maybe new tools, your intention, and what worked and didn't work, so you can reflect and go further and just keep on going. So this is your free PDF. I'm in the middle of extending that, making a guide, and the free course will be out soon, this month. So back to, which is part 3, finishing touches, and that's why I called this that title. And you'll see that after a few videos before creating the collage, so I will put that card up here in the upper right hand corner of this video, and you can see one session of art, of collage paper making, which didn't include a jelly plate printer, which makes your life easier. I wanted to explore marks, stamping techniques with various tools that you can find around the house. I also found some beautiful gold paper, which I haven't used yet, but I think I might use it in this selection. Any text. This is a type of vellum. It's very thin and slightly translucent, with a grungy approach with the jelly plate. So that'll be coming up, and I'll show you how I do those. This is a purer. As you can see, the hue is much stronger. And so I have a little selection here. I won't go into those. I'll explain them as I grab them. And I wanted circles of various types, being sort of the unity of, or message, or whatever you want to call it, of the finishing touches of these 4 mini abstracts. So I will just work on them And so I won't gnaw right now so I can speed that up. And I'll be back talking about what I'm doing in a moment. As you can, before I start, there's black, there's white, and there's blue. So I didn't want the same. And some are going to be horizontal, some are going to be vertical. So I'm just deciding on this one. And let's see what happens. This is also, sorry, on deli paper, which I ordered from Amazon and very easily found. Okay, so I'm really loving the overlapping, and I'm just going to hold it at an angle here, and you can see that there's very minimal bubbling. There's a little wrinkle there, but I don't mind that as long as it's not a bubble. And I forgot to welcome any new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. And this is what it's all about. Intuitive art journaling and beyond. And taking that, what you learn, and going farther, finding your true voice, getting over self-doubt and fear and all of those things. It has taken me a long time, and what I know now, I wish I knew then, but you know what? We are all where we need to be, and so let's just keep on going. I'll bring this closer to the camera, and I'm loving, this is what I love. This is my whole thing, is the multiple layers of complexity. You have the very beginning of the pencil. So go back to part 1 if you missed it, and then you'll see the whole building up to this stage. And then the stenciling, 2 different kinds. The scratching through. This could also be gesso. I might do that to another layer. But look how I followed that line across. And now I'm overlapping, and now it's added such interest. So I don't want to do too much more to this piece. My goal is to have my pieces a little more simple, but still with the depth of all that layering. So right now I'm deciding, nope, it's got to go across because I already have a lot of vertical. So I'm going to have some horizontal. Now, I took off the tape, so you'll see last week, I'm not really worried about putting the clear gloss on the edge. Maybe I should, but I'm not really. I just don't want to get paint on that side. And I'm looking for the paint side up. See? Right there. Because there's some great texture, physical texture. So this is part 3, finishing touches, and of course I will try to mix, or maybe I'll even just put some collage up there. A little bit of blue and a little bit of yellow to save that. We'll get to that in a minute. Nope, needs to go this way. So as soon as I put the circles on, I usually like to deal with one piece at a time. Now that they already have so much in common. I'm loving my pencil marks showing through. And I know I realized I didn't have enough, so I even added them on later in the layering process. It's basically what this is. So I don't like it too high up, but I like it right here. This is the deli paper, stamped with whatever shapes really resonate with you. And that's the part of the art journaling process that I love. And I love how it disappears. melts, I call it. So I'm loving this. Loving the scratching through with that layer. So go back to part 2 and veiling with a very transparent layer of white. I like to use the transparent mixing white. I think it does a really good job. And I like to crop my circles from one edge to the other. Yes, right there. And I decided to take the tape off at that just a slightly earlier stage in the process so that I could focus on each individual piece, but together with the collage. And I find with me, waiting till the last layers, I'm not depending on my collage. If I don't even know if that's a bad thing, you know. I have a whole series of work behind me on my wall at my other station here, and it's quite complex. I think that's what it is. If I start too early with my collage, I tend to get a little precious, and then I resist covering up and moving forward. So that's one of the reasons. That might work with you if you find you get attached too easily, but it's all a process over time. Okay, so loving this so far. I think just adding that little bit of pop, because let's look at them individually. Let's do that. Let's start with the last one. Okay, what does it have? Line. Good composition. This area might need a little bit more, so I might come in there with paint rather than a collage, but a piece of collage might do the trick. A little too bright. Picking up that color. Adding more line might make it a little too busy, but I'm liking when I'm at a corner, I like to trim it. There's a bit of that pink. See how it makes the eye go that way? Yes, I'm liking that. Now it's going to become a little more transparent, so maybe some of the underneath layer will show through. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because I like what's happening. And I think for my lines, see, I'm liking how that turquoise line met up with this line. I know I'm a little farther away, right here and there. So maybe some glazing later on. I'm just taking a little bit more tape off the edge. And it's making the eye go that way. I'm liking this pink, so I might come in with that on the top and then a sprinkle and we're done. Okay. This one. finishing touches I find are so interesting because, at least for me at this stage of the game, because I don't want to make it so busy. So here's this little piece of black, and I brought some black out because it got lifted. Okay, now that influenced. And I might go like this. Just a little. And notice those are way more forward because they're stronger, more contrast. This black here has a bit of the transparent white on it that I used with my color shaper. So if you don't have color shapers, you can use old credit cards. You can use catalyst wedges, spatulas, all sorts of things. So I'm liking this. So see how the contrast is too strong? But when I moved it down here, it's really adding some interest. And I love text. Yeah. Yep. And I love the stage of the finishing touches because it can go so smoothly. I guess it's clearer as to what you want to do. And I probably will finish these with a high gloss layer, but it'll be a thin, it'll be the gloss medium. It'll just protect them and they'll look really cool. And I'm going to mat them on a 8x10 mat, and I'll show you that at the end of this video. Okay, I'm loving this. That's a little bit of a bubble, but that's okay. Okay. You can see that it has a little bit of metallic on it. I'm really liking that. So I'm deciding between these two spots here. Nope, I think the lower. And I'll bring this closer to the camera. Okay, let me zoom in. Okay. So that's looking really cool. It's a little in the middle, but we can do a little bit more overlapping just to get that eye movement out of there. And last, I'm loving these. I don't want to do the same. Yes. It just, and that's just my gut feeling. When you cut when you have little pieces of collage, you just move them around and they'll find their place. So it's, a lot of artists say that I'm doing what the painting is telling me. So it's really not the painting, it's your intuition. Whatever. It's quite something, that. And I loved how it's melted in. This is interesting. See how that's created a really cool shape. So I don't know if I want to keep it or not. There's this. So I think I'll just use this little piece. Oop. Just to square off that edge. And you wonder about these little, nope, not big enough. Let's see if that's, nope, that's not going to work. Too eye-catching there. I think we'll have to use the paint. Just a tiny bit. So that was yellow oxide, a little bit of orange, cadmium orange hue, which I love, but barely. Oh. Okay. I'm just going to refocus here now that I've zoomed in a little bit more just for this section of the video. And I need a little bit of white. Just a little bit. Okay, not that white. This white. That's the Liquid Basics fluid. So I'm trying to find that again, create that again. And it was a little bit of black, too much black now. Okay, here we go. Oh well. Pretty close. Now, this is where you can do a little bit of lifting. Not bad. Yeah, I've made better matches. Keeping a damp rag and keeping everything around so you can grab. Perfect. There. Nice. Okay. Okay, that's very intense. This is see how the contrast there is a little high? So I think I'll come in with a little bit of a glaze and bring this down. Very good. Let's see. See how one makes you respond to the next one. And that's how I think. So I'm going to bring up the color here. And now the eye is going to see. That's a bit of, no, it's not working. So now I've just warmed it up. Let's see if we can do something about that. Small color shaper. Very watery. Like this. Notice those are stronger because I don't have that veil over them. So I'm going to dry those and then put the veil on top because I like that effect better because it's a lower contrast. And at this point, I have to make sure, unless I protect these edges and the back, which has gotten, but that was from last time. But these are just explorations. They don't have to be perfect, but I'm really liking them. So I will stick them in a frame and see what they look like. So I'm going to zoom out again. There, now you can see my whole working table. And I'm going to come in with my veil, you see, and see how thin you can put it on. I'm going to leave those, though, because those are in front, back, so it has this whole weaving, push-pull dynamic going on. And I think I'll just... There. Nice. Don't want to touch it except for some line and some sprinkles. So let's dry that. It might be a little too eye-catching, but I like doing that sometimes with different, just bringing a hue. It is too eye-catching. See that? I could tell as I moved it to the side, my eye could still feel it. So no. Nope. Oh, a little too much. So you come in with your damp rag, soften the edges. You can still see it. I like it. Okay. Why not this in a slight overlap? A little strong. Interesting. Okay, I'll just fix that. And you know when you start fiddling that, oh, no, it doesn't want to do that. Or it doesn't need it. And the whole conversation is, well, how do you know when your painting is done? And I loved how one artist, I forget who, she said, a female, when it has nothing left to say, or has nothing more to say. So you see that smudge, it sort of broke up that part. So I am going to tear a piece. I'm going to use that. I'm going to keep it within the shape so that, oh, look at that. That looks way better, but just slightly stronger without disturbing this intuitive composition. And that's what happens when you start building up layers, focusing here, opening there, quieting, building, and it just evolves. I just love that. Okay, so now all we need, I believe, is some, I think I want to bring in the gold pen on these. So let's put them side by side where you can see them. So I was saying that I wanted to finish up with some gold pen because I'm really liking this effect here. Now I don't want to overdo it, and I don't want to do it maybe the same. I want to put some on each one, but not the same. Then I have the line, I still have to find or remember when I'm recording the name of these bottles, but they make beautiful raised fine lines. So the white I'm going to put near the white, and of course the black might echo some line, some energy. And that's it, I think. Maybe a sprinkle. I'm loving this sprinkle here that I made on the collage. So don't forget to check that out. I'm leaving the card in here to that video. And let's see. So I'm going to just continue the kind of marks that I love. And I'm going to stop there. Wow, loving that. And I might redefine or go over, strengthen some others. There, beauty. Okay, then I'm going to put that one to the side. And what I do is, when I follow my instincts, I'm just echoing without making anything too much. This one needed more open lines. Okay, that's enough gold. Now I'm going to just come in with those. I'm going to use the white. I think I'll just make some dots here. If it's working, test it first. It was working. I tested it before the video started. Oh, maybe it dried already. Oh, it's sort of working. Sort of. Not, oh, no, it's not. So we'll leave that one. We can also use Posca pen. Okay. And there's a bit of a splash here on that paper. So I just think I'm gonna accentuate that. Nope. You know what? It doesn't want white on it, so we won't do it. I'm going to put that to the side. So those are organic marks that are now they're transforming into these thick dots. And I don't want to go over too much because of the contrast is too high. So I'm just gonna bring this physical texture here, and you have to really be careful and let that dry. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. Handle gets in the road. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. I think that's all. I really want to minimize my line. I tend to make it too busy. Okay. So I'm not going to dry that by my dryer. I'm just going to let that air dry because this is all I'm doing, except for maybe a tiny sprinkle. And I don't want to get the sprinkles on that. So usually I would tape or have a piece of paper cut in this size, which I think I'm going to do for last minute type of sprinkles. I'm I'm just going to see if I can keep it in a smaller area. Let's see if I can do that. And you see where it's here? That's where I want to, oh, isn't that interesting? Let's see if I can, oh, I could. Yes, it was watery enough. Too watery. See how these things happen? I just love it. Now, so I'm pointing the brush down. It's quite watery, so the drops are going to be very tiny. Oh, and that's okay. I'm not going to even worry about it. There. Love it. I'm sort of going diagonally. Just that interesting little bit of texture. I'm loving that gold pen. I think I might want it elsewhere. Here. So it's very fine. Oops, there I go. And you can see those sprinkles were on the piece of collage that I glued there. And I am going to use some pink just to see if I could push that a bit more. These are a little heavier as I'm putting more paint on, loading the brush. Loading with a little bit more water. Whoop. Okay. Now. And sometimes I come in with some dots, like now. I just thought a line might be too much. And let's echo some of that pink down there. That's it. Now, could we put some pink in? Let's zoom in. So I'm putting it in where it's closer. And last but not least, okay, so we'll do a grid here. Because it's just matching the squares or the rectilinear shapes. Go with line this time. Five or seven. Oh, one more here. There we go. Okay, I think we're done. So let's just show one at a time before I show you at the end. There's that one. I'm loving how the gold goes over, and instead of a first layer, it's a last layer. And I love drawing elements in my work. You can see the China marker under there, the pencil, the very first layers. I just love it. And I'm going to just sit them there, and we're going to zoom out again so you can see all four together. I'm just rolling it so you can see the sheen of different collage pieces that you can make. And noticing I'm loving them the tall way. And that's it for this mini series of small abstracts. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned how you can take your intuitive art journaling practice on your pages to then multiples of small and then slowly build up, and who knows where it'll go. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and share. And my new stuff is on its way, so don't forget to grab your Intuitive Art Journaling Reflections PDF, and it really helps you just keep in touch with what worked and what didn't work and where you want to go next, rather than writing on the back. You could title them, number them, and keep each reflection, or just for this group, in a binder. And I think I'm going to do that. So, much more to come, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one.